the lucky fortune to be a part of a live taping of Climate Pioneers. Climate Pioneers is a video interview series moderated by our fantastic editor-at-large, Heather Clancy, here at Trellis. She's been doing this work for us for 13 years, but has been covering journalism in the climate space for decades. Today, she is getting to interview Marissa McGowan, CSO North America for L'Oreal. Marissa's quite impressive. She has been a CSO at L'Oreal since 2021, previously CSO at PVH, which holds brands like Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. She has a law degree from Georgetown, and L'Oreal is doing big work too. They recently reduced operational emissions by 74% while increasing production by 12%. This is the kind of magic that all of us want. So please welcome to the stage Marissa and Heather.
Hello, everyone. I don't know about you, but Katie has just got the most inspiring speakers this morning. I've been backstage just being awe, like one after the other. So amazing. Think about a hand for Katie. I'm truly inspired by companies that are offering operational emissions reductions while growing. Like that, just whenever I see that, I'm like, I need to talk to them. So that's why I'm inspired by you. I hope you will be as well. One of the things I wanted to first ask you was just who are your allies within the organization that really made that happen? We just heard about entrepreneurial work going on. So who helped you internally get there?
So I would say, as someone who trades in influence, our relationships are everything. And when I think about my allies, it's probably threefold: team, business, and the people I don't know yet.
Okay.
So in terms of my team, you can't be everywhere. If you have great people representing you, you fan out, you make friends, you figure out what's going on, and then you come back together and figure out how we're going to implement new solutions. In terms of the business, I say I'm a business leader that practices sustainability. I think it's critical, being in the business space, that we can speak the business language, we understand the business challenges, and we are working together towards solutions that are both more sustainable and great for business. And then finally, I said the people who I don't yet know. And each year, I'm an introvert, so I have to be really intentional with my time. I pick 4 people who I want to get to know. Mm-hmm. And this year, we have 2 new leaders within our operations and R&I space. I know their operations and what they do quite well, but I don't know them personally. So they're on my list of people to get to know.
R&I is research and innovation?
Correct, okay. Correct. So we have a new lead for that. So we're pretty embedded there, but I just want to get to know that individual personally and make sure that I'm intentional about spending time with them. So that's kind of the mix.
Who do you report to?
I report to our CEO of North America.
Okay.
Yep, we have a great management team, and so yeah.
Okay, now one of the things I wanted to really parse into is your product goals, right? So we heard the big goal, but you also have a goal to cut in half the emissions produced by each product by 2030. And underneath that, 100% of L'Oreal products will be eco-designed, 95% of the ingredients will be bio-based, and 100% of the packaging will be either made from recycled or bio-based materials. So where are you on those goals? And actually, also, how do you define eco-design? Like, what does that mean?
Okay, so we'll start with eco-design. So on eco-design for 2023 and 2024, 100% of our portfolio, new and renovated products, were eco-designed, and 96% of our total portfolio has been eco-designed. And that 4%, we're waiting on testing and work we do on dermatological products with derms and doctors. So what does it mean to be eco-designed? We actually have an internal tool called Spot, and Spot is our internal lifecycle analysis tool. So it's 14 impacts across the lifecycle of our product, everything from extraction through to production, through to end of life. And we put all our products through those tools, and that's both formulation and packaging. And it comes out with a score, 1 to 10. And the objective is that every product, when it's made or renovated, has to exceed the score of the product that it is replacing. So that is the internal process. It is pretty robust, and
So it exceeds, meaning that it does better.
it does better. Either better formulation, better packaging, hopefully both. We'll see.
And you put the revisions of a product through this and the new products that you're developing.
Exactly.
Okay. And I actually should mention that you've been doing this for like 10 years?
Since
or so?
2017, we rolled out the tool, and then we made the commitment to actually make it public. So the product impact label is the public manifestation of that.
So how do you feel about products that are like green or eco? How does that work?
So interestingly, when I came into the role, we had a few different green products that we were putting on the market. And what we found was they didn't do as fantastically as we hoped. When we looked at what we were actually trying to accomplish, which is large scale reduction of things we don't want and increase of things we do want, we decided instead of going for these one-off green product lines, we would take the learnings from those green product lines and actually apply them to our best sellers, our top products, our top SKUs. Example, we actually took the learnings from Maybelline's Green Edition mascara, where we were told you can never do 100% PCR mascara tube. We did. And actually Sky High, which gave my Japanese lashes a second life. They actually, 94% of the tubes for Maybelline Sky High, which is a best-selling mascara, are now made out of PCR, or post-consumer recycled plastic. So that's an example of just taking the learnings from a line that on its own wasn't successful, but proved to us that we can do things we didn't think we could do, and applying that to best-selling lines that from an impact perspective will be much more far-reaching.
So did you so you got rid of that product?
Green Edition?
Yeah.
Yes, we phased it out.
Okay, so how do you actually, like, how big is the portfolio now versus before? Do you have any that you call green or?
We probably do, but not that I can jump off, because that's not my goal. It's like get the best product, the biggest sellers to have the best impacts.
But those people that are designing the best sellers now, though, they're taught to think about sustainability from the beginning. So how do you, like when you look at the research and innovation team, but also the other teams in the company, how does that change the recruiting or the training of L'Oreal's people to get there?
So I think the training happens on multiple levels. So you have group level training, which I think most of our companies would have, on how to think about sustainability, what it means, what these definitions are, what these words are. But this year we actually rolled out a different training, which is all specific to your function. So you go in and you choose, I'm a marketer, I'm a product developer, whatever it is, and it takes you on a 30-minute designed course on which KPIs are relevant to you, what business decisions you can make, and how that can actually ultimately impact the product. I think that's one of the biggest unlocks I found was when I got to North America, where there may have been a perception that some of the ideas generated in France wouldn't translate. Wasn't the case. It was just breaking down, what does this actually mean in my job? And to your point about research and innovation, there's generalist training for our research and innovation teams, but then we have very specific teams working on moving out of certain ingredients so that we can get to that 100% or 95% bio-based.
So you're a lawyer by training.
I am.
And there's a lot of regulations that are influencing some of your work. In particular, I'm just curious about how you're looking at plastics regulation, EPR, and applying that to your strategy.
So interestingly, I'll take it in two parts if it's okay. One is, people always ask me, how did a lawyer become a sustainability professional? Probably for many of you who are a little older, we all came from somewhere else, so that's not so strange. But a lot of what I did in my early days was work in places where the laws didn't exist or the infrastructure to support the laws didn't exist. So we had to come in as multinationals and do something to uphold a basic international standard. In terms of how we're using plastics laws today, especially in the state of California, is really as a tailwind. I see EPR, or extended producer responsibility, which asks producers to contribute to the improvement of recycling systems through a fee for single-use products. I think it's an absolute tailwind. It's allowed us to open up internal conversations around what are our plastic targets, Do they match the regulatory environment? And now that so many of us have introduced net zero, how are you looking at all of those things together? Which levers are you going to pull? How quickly? And are they actually going to get you to a place of compliance? We are moving from a voluntary environment to a more prescriptive environment, and with that comes the opportunity to innovate.
So are you changing your messaging around that? I mean, like, I don't hear a lot of companies link their plastics goals to their emissions goals, to their circular economy goals, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. How are you doing that?
I agree, actually. I think that's exactly what we're trying to do, is bring back the conversation. I think if you step back, what we did in the sustainability space was say, we have these broad goals, reduce emissions, and then we broke that down into all these smaller goals. And then how we reported out and maybe what our stakeholders were asking for were really specific. But I think we have an opportunity right now, as we've matured as a function, as the conversation is mainstreamed, to actually bring those conversations back together. And hopefully that will be what we could do next.
In the time we have left, a couple leadership questions. What one question do you ask every potential hire?
Give me a great example of how you've done something as a team.
To follow up on that, is there, like, what was the most inspirational answer to that?
Oh, I would say I usually get some pretty basic answers, but it does show me whether or not someone's truly committed to collective action. To me, that's the magic. That's the secret sauce.
Got it.
And so if you cannot work in a team, if you are not interested in taking a collective win versus a personal win, I think it's going to be very hard to be successful.
Now, you're a lawyer, and we're in a very challenging, I'll use that word, environment right now. How are you keeping your team motivated?
Say three things. One, we have so much agency. In this room, when you look around this room, in terms of the brands you represent, the NGOs, the access you have to each other, to great brands with amazing opportunities to storytell, there is so much we can control, even though it feels like we can't.
Right.
There is so much we can control. Just keep focusing on what you can control. Tune out the noise while processing your feelings. I think that's probably the number one. Number two, we just heard about belonging. We talk a lot about the power of debate in L'Oreal. Entrepreneurial spirit and the power of debate are our secret sauce, and you need to feel belonging to do that. So continuing to create a culture where people feel included and that they belong, so that they can debate and we can get to those innovative solutions that are going to take us to the next level.
Love that. Thank you. What would you tell your 21-year-old self?
Probably to trust the people who I believed when they told me I was doing a good job.
I love that. So trust the people that prop you up.
Exactly.
And then carry on and move forward.
Exactly.
Love that. Thank you so much, Marissa. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.